I am Alice Bullen, and I'm sitting on a bench in Helliwell Park on Hornby Island. And it is 51 years since I first walked in Helliwell Park. It is an absolutely beautiful natural park. It was given to the province by Mr. Helliwell many years ago, and it has become one of the gems on the west coast. I'm not well enough informed to tell you what kind of trees I'm looking at. There's certainly fir and maybe some spruce. And it is a favorite walk. There's two paths you can take. The one I'm about to take turns down closer to the waterfront than the one to my right. But Jeffrey asked me to mention what I know about Hornby Island. We came to Hornby Island to visit the Hansons, Marty and Al Hanson, who we had known when we lived for 5 years in Powell River. And their son, David, had married Dennis's cousin, Kay, and had left the community when we went to Powell River, where Dennis practiced children's dentistry, and were adopted by Marty and Al Hanson. Then years later, we were living in Nanaimo and knew that Marty and Al had retired to Hornby Island, where they owned a very large waterfront property, and invited us to come over and camp on their property. Well, it was a good idea to camp because we had 4 children. But over we came and met them and on their property and camped, and discovered right beside their camp was a privately owned campsite called Heron Rocks. And it was owned by the Browns, and we camped there for about 5 years, and it seemed the same people came from West Vancouver, the same people came from Comox, and eventually the owners became too old to manage the campsite and suggested that if a group of us wanted to band together, they would sell it as a non-profit campsite, which we bought, and it was called Heron Rocks Campsite, and it's there to this day. It has very strict environmental rules, and it was ahead of its time in protecting the environment. And for many more years we camped there until we got a sailboat. And then on our sailboat we used to always tie up at Ford's Cove, which was in a walk of Heron Rocks, and walk over to Heron Rocks and renew acquaintances. There were people from California that came there every year. And we very much have always enjoyed visiting Hornby Island, and the people really love it. Now, we have a granddaughter, Andrea, and Danielle, her husband, who live on Hornby Island, so we have another reason to come. And they have a daughter who was 2 in March, and they are expecting a second child anytime. This is May of 2011. So we have even more reasons to come to Hornby, but because of my being limited, because of sore knees and a sore hip, I haven't walked Helliwell Park for some years until today, when I'm over here with Jeff Hall, and I'm delighted to be here. Hornby is a very unique island. In the summertime, it is packed with visitors, and over the Labor Day weekend, the local citizens go down to the marina and stand there happily waving goodbye to all the summer tourists because they want Hornby Island for themselves. And I don't blame them. I think that's enough. Bob Silver didn't give his to Comox, which was a blessing, really, because it was in need of so much repair. It worked much better that he gave money, and then they gave grants to buy it and repair it.